Want to lead us in the pledge?
Kind of close.
We'll stand for the.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jenny David.
Here.
Roger Mayhew. Charles Wiltie.
Present.
Craig Scott.
Here.
Mark Serbrook.
Here.
Commissioners, any additions or corrections?
Have an addition
I have one also.
under discussion items. Transit budget adjustments. Yeah,
Commissioner Wiltie?
Okay, I guess we could just go after that. Just discussion regarding veterans. Park. Quick talk.
Okay, guys, we got a pretty, how bad that is S. We got a pretty lengthy agenda here, so I'm asking everybody to be very mindful.
Chair David, can I just, on item 6C, 6B, Judge Williams is here to discuss the budget adjustments as related to appellate expenses. You received in your packet something as well as about changes of the child care fund.
Yep.
So there was two things on there. I just wanted to be cognizant of that.
We have the adjustments for transit.
that's what I made.
It's R.
That was yours.
That's what I added.
Before I said mine.
Yes.
Good job.
First transit budget adjustment, S is gonna be the veterans. Any other additions or corrections? Approval of the closed minutes. I think we all got a copy. of
Motion
that.
approved.
Motion commission, and these were minutes from June 4th, 2026.
Support.
Motion from Commissioner Serbrook, support from Commissioner Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 4, public comment and agenda items only in the room. Public comment on the phone. Appointments, Housing Committee appointment for Rosemary Dematio. Come on up. Thank you. I'm glad your friends really did.
That's okay.
Think of you when I read this. I thought, oh, she's taking on something else.
Oh, no.
When I read she's building like 6 houses, homes in
Oh,
West Branch.
Yes. So we talked to her, a few of us talked to her about coming on board with the housing committee. We think she has a wealth of information for us. She's worked with Mishta, so she's received grants for these homes that she's building. So she's always available by phone to guide some of the other people that are trying to build and get the grant money.
She's a state certified appraiser.
Yes, I've worked with her for years.
Got a pretty good application there.
Yes.
Comments, questions? Commissioner Wiltie, I think you serve on this as well.
Yeah, Rose would be a great benefit to our
Mhm.
organization. She's been a huge win for our county when it comes to
Yes.
the grants and the housing, and obviously what her story is a story that we would like to have another couple dozen people be
Yeah.
able to replicate. But it's not easy, but once you get the foot in the door and you do what the state wants you to do, it gets easier and easier every time. But Rose would be great to have on here.
Any other comments?
Known Rose forever. She'd be a great asset, I'm sure.
Any involvement is appreciated. And what's the length of this? Is there a
End of the year,
expiration?
December 31st, we all come up for reappointment because it's a committee.
Perfect. Figure out if she wants to continue then.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Quick contain this.
And thank you for your support for our committee.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Item 6, discussion items, MSU annual report.
Hello.
Hi, Julie.
Hey. Well, I walked in with Chairperson David, so I'm aware of the length of your agenda. I know that sometimes I go on, I gush about extension. I think I have good reason to, but I will try to keep this short. First of all, I apologize that the digital copy of this was not in your packet. I did email Francine just before this meeting, and I also sent it to Breck. So hopefully they'll be able to distribute the digital version of this. It is on our website. The first 2 pages really cover what we do in extension statewide, giving some context, and then some ways that statewide programs are making an impact locally on the interior pages. But then I just want to highlight the numbers that are captured on the top of the interior page 3. we have 13 active 4-H clubs, but we have a lot more special interest clubs that are happening. We've just added a few this year. This is covering 2025. So all of a sudden we're seeing some growth in 2026, which is wonderful. We're growing in volunteers and in youth participation. And we have lots of direct consultations with our staff. We've got a number of programs that we're engaging with 4-H youth, including shooting sports, a babysitting training, Youth for the Quality Care of Animals, which helps youth that are marketing their livestock at things like fairs. And we've sent youth to Washington, D.C. to be part of a national program called 4-H Citizenship Washington Focus. And we have both inbound and outbound youth participating in our international exchange program. So we have youth coming from Japan and youth going to Japan. So we're excited about all of that. And then in the back, just a summary of some other things that we did in 2025. So you were all present when we did a little bit of, well, except for Francine, strategic visioning. That was before her time, in cooperation with the previous controller administrator. We helped the transit with some mediation for workplace environment. We may do that again. We were present at the sesquicentennial celebration, glad to support that. And working with local libraries and farmers to do outreach in the community and have events that really support everything that's happening in Ogemaw County. So if there's questions for me, I'm happy to take them. I can always appear at another meeting when the agenda is not quite so packed, and you know how to reach me if you have questions about anything in the report. Oh, I also gave you, thank you, Commissioner Scott, for picking up these materials. I have a brochure that explains sort of a new tagline that we're using for extension, which is whatever you want to do, extension does that. We do a lot of things. So this helps you find some of those examples of things that we do. There's a QR code that will lead you to our website. And then the other one really ties to success stories that we have. The card that we have will help you connect with some of the success stories that we have across the state, and help you really appreciate the breadth and depth of the work of Michigan State University. Something that everyone is contributing to, not only in Ogemaw County through the millage, but also through your state and federal taxes as well.
Questions, comments? Commissioner Wiltie?
Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all this information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Scott?
Yep.
Commissioner Serbrook?
Thank you, Julie, for.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Commissioner Serbrook is supporting you tonight.
I see. I will also mention that currently I am covering all of the 7 counties in our MSU Extension District 4, which is here, obviously. But this time I'm also covering these 5 counties in District 9. And they'll be searching for an interim person to cover District 4. I will be moving to District 9, which is centered in Saginaw, which is where I live. Just know that I am excited to have this opportunity to work in the community that I live in, but also I'm very sad to leave the people of my staff and the people of this community who have been such a great support to me. So as soon as that interim person is named, I will appear with that person and let you know. But I'm really sad to leave you, and very grateful for all the support that you've shown me. Very grateful for the relationships that we've built, and hope that MSU Extension Service will continue to be very strong in Ogemaw County moving forward. So
How long have you been here?
I've been here since 2020, just about 6 years. I started in June of 2020.
How long have you been with MSU?
In August, I will have been here 20 years. Yeah.
Can I make comments?
Go ahead.
I know at our last in-phase MSU Extension meeting, this was kind of brought up. And
Yeah.
I wish you the best.
Thank
I
you.
Don't want you to leave. I love your energy and passion for what you do, and obviously MSU Extension is huge for this community, so I'll see you, but I wish you the best, and
Thank you so much, Charlie.
it's a bummer
Appreciate it.
that you're leaving.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to replace. The energy and excitement for something you've done for 20 years is very hard to find.
Well, I still wake up every day excited to do my job. So, but with 12 counties, it is testing my ability to maintain everything.
Are they giving you an additional stipend for this extra workload?
No,
No?
No.
She just loves it that much.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I still get mileage reimbursement, but yeah, it's pretty full on. So, you know, I'm bouncing around between Flint, Saginaw, Bay, Midland. I'm up here. Tomorrow I'll be in Tawas, next week in Grayling. I'm just, you know, wherever you need me to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Julie.
Thank you.
Good night, Julie.
Item 6B, Judge Williams, discussing budget adjustment.
No. All right, I've got three line items I need looked at. We'll start with the small ones. Basically, the legal fees and transcript budget. Since I started in 2020, I had one appeal that I had to appoint an attorney for. I have two going right now. And one of them was just one parent appealed. I had to appoint an attorney. The other case was a termination case where I had two parents, so I had to appoint an attorney for each one. Well, the first attorney pretty much ate my budget, so we haven't got any bills from the second attorneys 2 and 3 yet, but they're coming. So we just kind of need some more money in that line item in anticipation of the attorney fee bills we're gonna get. My proposal, and I guess along with that is transcript fees, because we have to do transcripts of all the hearings for these attorneys. So we ate through that budget already as well, based from the first appeal. And the second one is over a year's worth of hearings that have to be transcribed and given to the attorneys. But I'm proposing to move about total 16,000 from the child care fund balance to cover that. So that's what I'd like to see. It's one of these things where I don't have a lot of choice. They request an attorney, I have to appoint one.
This service is mandated, correct? I mean,
What's that?
you have to provide the service, correct?
Yeah, I have to provide it, and it's hard. We got one of the appellate attorneys, I think is from the Grand Rapids area, and one's from the Detroit area. Just finding appellate attorneys to do these is hard. But that's all they do, so that's what they do. So hopefully they're quick at it and bill accordingly, but like I say, I never used either one of them before, so I don't know how bad it's gonna be, but we're basing our estimate on the bills we got from the first attorney, which should be complete. So that's what ate up our initial budget, 5,500. If you go back through the years, we've kind of whittled that down. It used to be up to 15,000 budget was when I first started, and we whittled that down to 5,500 because we haven't been needing it. Well, now I need it, so that's what we got there. The budget for transcripts has always been 500. Again, I gotta pay for them, so I don't know what choice I have. Like I like to say at all those other prior meetings, that's what the fund balance is for, this type of thing, so. That leads us to the next area, the child care fund, yeah, treatment. I have 3 youths in treatment right now. Within the next month, I'll probably have a 4th if my prediction is right. I have one that may be coming out, the most expensive one, he may be coming out this summer sometime, but I don't know for sure. But we're really under budgeted in that. Again, one of those things where the last 5 years, it had been that bad. I shouldn't say that bad, but we had reduced the budget by $50,000 over the last few years because we hadn't been using it. Well, again, now we need it. The only good thing I can say is other areas of the budget we're way under. So at the end of the year, that may replenish most of it to the fund balance, assuming everything continues as planned. These 4 youths are, I want to say, graduates from the community service that didn't work. So basically, they're not success stories from the youth center and the other services, the Partners in Change counseling. They, is what it is, I guess. But hopefully, like I say, hopefully will be getting out this summer. She is in the highest priced one that costs us a lot, $250 a day, basically. The other ones are, don't know their anticipated out day. I know, actually, one of them I know will be there till he's 18. He's in a more of a mental health treatment facility. And the other ones could be a while too, so. So that's, I'm proposing, we kind of did our best guess and calculations that we need to add about 115,000 from the fund balance to cover our shortage, because right now I think we have 42,000 left or something like that, but our anticipated expenses, we have 46,000 left and our anticipated expenses are 159 based on our estimations. So I'd like to move money from the fund balance with the hope and expectation that a lot of that will be replenished because we're under quite a bit in the community resource line item. But with childcare fund, I just can't switch line items. I gotta go through this process. And then at the end of the year, assuming we don't use what we did, then that can be re-added back to the fund balance, hopefully bringing it up. It probably won't be 100%, but it'll be a good chunk is my understanding. So I'm here for any questions. It's one of these things where, I know that before you guys were probably here several years ago, like, I know Judge Lamborn had to come and ask for like $500,000. So by that standard, I'm not doing too bad, but at the same time, cost, it is what it is type of deal. So I'm only asking for 115 in that item instead of, but again, hopefully a good chunk of that will come back but I'm here if you have any questions.
Commissioner Serbrook.
Oh, I remember the horror stories from before, so you've done an excellent job.
Well, we try to,
You-
that's what the whole purpose of the community-based services
Yep,
are.
exactly.
Is it just,
Yeah,
I got
remember
one
under,
kid with a dozen assaults right now.
Yeah. I remember under Judge Turkelson, the childcare fund was always, contentious.
We've been,
So
according to,
you've done an excellent job. You thank God there's money in the fund balance to be able to do this. It's we don't have an option. It's gotta be funded, so,
like I said, my hope is that the one expensive girl is,
Yeah,
the summer's coming out.
right,
So
that'll save.
and if it does, obviously, we'll have extra.
Sure, it'll just go back into the
Go
fund
right
balance,
back
which is
to
what it's there for.
So, but we're preparing for worst case scenario that all these
You
people
have
will
to.
be there October 1st. So
Yep,
that's
yeah.
kind of what we're preparing for.
Commissioner Serbrook, or Scott, I'm sorry.
Just, what is the, explanation for state court chargeback?
What's the, I'm sorry.
State court chargeback.
That's the line item that the treatment is in, I guess. They had to explain that to me too. I had it under institutional care. But it's the state board chargeback, which means the total amount we actually get charged, we get reimbursed. So that's our share that I'm asking for. So, because like I said, we pay 250 a day. The daily rate is actually 503 a day. So if you want to start a treatment facility, that could be very lucrative. So, I say one of my use, the daily rate is $1,011, but we only have to pay 165 of that. So it could be worse. That's the state and the federal government pay the balance for, kind of like insurance, I guess, but it's our copay.
Commissioner Wiltie.
It's our responsibility. We gotta take care of this.
I guess, because we had a lot of conversation about this when we were doing the budget
Mhm.
and your guys' fund balance and where you were, and you said we even pulled 50,000, if I remember, out of that. Wasn't it 50,000?
I think it was.
Yeah, you reduced it by 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was, I don't want to say it's unexpected, but it's, usually we have two kids in, we're gonna have,
That's the question. Is it because there's four? Is that why this is so we just didn't calculate this correctly?
it's because there's four. And it's because the one is in the high dollar placement
Okay.
that it's called Bay Pines. It's in the upper peninsula. It's a secure facility. It's the most expensive placement, and that's They're assigned by the Department of Health and Human Services. They have what's called Juvenile Justice Assignment Unit. They try to match the kid with the treatment facility. And that's and this particular young lady had been in 2 or 3 other ones, but she keeps graduating and going to more secure.
Graduating that on the
Well,
good,
and that's a
not the good
good
end.
way to put it, but.
Yeah.
But she's making progress and
Well,
she's,
that's good.
hopefully she's gonna be out of that, but, so that's kind of, like I say, we kind of budget for what we've spent in years
To
past.
say, you look at the historical data and
Yeah.
figure it from there and.
And yeah, I mean, like I say, you did reduce our fund balance because we were optimistic, and we're still optimistic. I mean, we're still, even if you take this, we still have 300,000 or something in there, but hopefully by October 1st, it'll be back up close to 4. Once we, because our other line item we're really short on. When I say short on, we're
Right.
good on.
Under budget.
Under budget, there we go.
Yeah, I remember it too.
Do you have anything to add to this?
I don't, thank you.
Can I just clarify, both are coming out, the 16,000 is?
My
coming out?
understanding is this, that we're requesting that both of these, all these requests are coming out of our fund balance.
Okay.
Your
Correct.
guys' fund balance.
The
Correct.
childcare fund
Yes.
balance, yes. Yes, not the counties.
Wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ed.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you for coming.
Good night.
Appreciated. Item 6C, review of the RFP for emergency manager and job description. Francine, you put this together.
Overlooking and reviewing some things, we have our emergency manager position currently is out of contract. And so reviewing some of the responsibilities with, you'll see later on the agenda, the first item was revising the emergency management plan and fire drill handbook that was requested to do my first week when I arrived. And with that, looking at what the responsibilities are, with the news of our hazard mitigation plan is out of date. Looking with the other counties of what they do and the responsibilities, it was requested I draft an RFP for you to review along with the job description. And I pulled in 2 other counties for a job description for what we had in 2 other counties to come up with something that collectively would have responsibilities that would keep us in compliance. One of the things that I would like to see is our emergency manager be part of the EOC. That's very important in this county. That would keep us in compliance. So these are for your review for an RFP that we need to have a contracted emergency manager and the job description along with it, as we could not find a job description for Ogemaw County that I could find.
Comments, questions, Commissioner Wiltie?
Yeah, this is important. I appreciate Fran's work on this. Yeah, it's just, I mean, obviously, as we're moving forward and progressing, we're finding things that, should be done that aren't done. I mean, obviously, our emergency manager is not even in a current contract. That's not a good thing. This amount we have at the top, the contract amount, is that the current salary for our emergency manager?
Correct. That's currently what we have budgeted.
And you guys have heard me say the last 6 months about every time in claims, and I see that number of how much that monthly cost is. That's a really good salary for what I'm seeing getting done. And I'm not saying that things aren't getting done. I don't know what other emergency managers are doing in other counties, but it's been something that's really caught my eye. So I had asked Fran, if we could find out what other emergency managers are making, and it does sound like there are a number of emergency managers, just like our current emergency manager, who they are in a number of different counties.
Well, when I received Ross Commons' job description, they started off very similar to us as a part-time emergency manager. That part-time emergency manager has written so many grants to fund their position full-time with a part-time assistant. So the capability of having a part-time emergency manager that can write their own grants to become full-time, that's partially funded by the county and partially funded by grants, and to get administrative staff is an opportunity that happens in other counties.
I have a question.
Sure.
So regarding what you just said, you're saying in Roscommon County, which is very close to us, their emergency manager actually has grants that have been approved, that they've won the grant and it's paying for salaries?
Yes, it's partially funded by the county and partially funded through a grant That's what was it told to me when they were sent the job description, as well as the hazard mitigation plan that is in compliance.
Commissioner Scott.
When are we advertising this?
This is for discussion of an RFP. I would hope that we have an RFP quickly. If there would like to be a lot of discussion, I would recommend that we come back in 2 weeks. If we want to have more discussion about it. But just so everyone's aware, our emergency manager doesn't have a contract. Our hazard mitigation plan is not in place and is expired. And we also do not have an operating EOC in this county. And
So the public knows, what does EOC stand for?
Emergency Operation Center.
Yes.
Just keep,
Yes.
go ahead.
I have one
Um,
more question.
So from the history of looking back and investigating, Buffy, I believe, was the prior emergency manager, was very instrumental in meeting with the EOC on a regular basis. And that's really important. It came up during one of our meetings when we were reviewing the fire drill and emergency plan. And this is very important. And there is history there, so we have an established base. However, we haven't met or been aware of meeting in several years.
One other thing, our current emergency manager, with what other counties? We share him with these costs, with this expense.
I can answer that.
Go ahead,
Aranac and Iosco.
just so the public's aware.
Oscoda, I'm sorry, Oscoda and Aranac.
Yeah,
Okay, no, I asked all.
No, I said that wrong.
Okay,
Oscoda and Aranac.
how long has it been, the mitigation been out of compliance?
The last one was written in 2016. If you look at FEMA's website, it says 2017 out of compliance. And there's a spot there that states, are you working on it? Ours is clearly a no.
did you get that email she sent to us? It had the map and it said,
I sent an email this morning to all the commissioners because I've been getting calls from the public to look on FEMA's website to confirm what it is, but I also included our hazard mitigation plan that's dated 2016. The recommendation from a lot of people is you have the footprint there, a document that's almost 300 pages long, is you extrapolate what you need and then go and change the things that are different since 2016. Not everything has changed.
but a lot has.
Correct.
So it's been out of compliance for 4 years.
That's on,
It says plan expiration date was 22,
from the website, correct.
July 22. So
How-
just shy.
However, I think they give you a grace period because when speaking to our current emergency manager, he instructed me that it has to be done every 5 years. So therefore, if it was in 2016, that would have been 2021 when it expired.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Plain and simple, it's
Yeah.
expired, it's been expired.
It's been expired.
Yeah. Commissioner Serbrook, anything?
Yes. We need to have this because in the absence of an appointed person, per the law, the emergency management coordinator shall be the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners. So duties would fall, if we don't do this and appoint somebody, it would fall to the board chair.
That's why you have the statute.
And I
included.
don't think that that we want to tackle that one.
Commissioner Wilson, did you say you had another question?
Well, I mean, obviously, a few people have asked, why this happened, and obviously it's disappointing to hear. So I asked Fran if she had talked to Mr. Bowers to find out, what the reasoning was. I think it's important that we know what was the reason why he said we're not compliant.
It was the irony when I had found out that we were expired. I was meeting with him maybe 15 minutes later. So we talked in length about it. And he did explain that he had spoken to the board last year about the possibility of submitting a grant that would pay for the hazard mitigation plan 25,000, maybe even 26,000. And the Board of Commissioners would have 15,000. However, federal government had seized and stopped funding on this, and he believes that this could be happening again, that we could apply for grants. I did tell him that, we need to figure this out before we apply and put any money up, match for grant money at this point, because we have such a lengthy expiration point. And he knew it was expired.
Did we, ever have a job or a, contract with our current emergency medical or
We
manager?
did,
When did that expire?
2023.
Other comments, questions?
Yeah, we just need to keep this moving forward.
Gotta spend a little bit of time on this. I did print it off so I can look at it a little closer. But I think we all need to take a pretty deep dive into this with the world what it is today, with the weather being what it is today, with everything being so unpredictable. I think we've really realized over the last couple of years just how vital this position is. So we really, really need to, I agree, dive into this and make some changes.
I'm in favor of putting this on for a vote for a RFP.
Before we do that, shouldn't we agree on the job description? I mean, really look this, so I don't disagree with what you're saying, but we gotta make sure we do this correctly.
Okay.
So someone knows what they're applying for. We gotta make sure we're okay with the job description.
And,
It's been part of the confusion, like, and something as plain as simple as the AEDs, like it wasn't part of a job description. Should it be?
correct, and there was some, I think there's some confusion of what's mandated and what's recommended. So checking with the state, that's why you have the statute along with there of some certifications aren't mandated. However, they should have knowledge and be able to do it to be certified. However, when that comes into play is when you apply for certain grants, you have to have certifications under that. So I think there was confusion on many different levels of what's mandated. And so I think that's important for the board to look at in consideration of what's important to you in an emergency situation.
Can I make a comment? I just thought of this as we're talking. So, one problem that we had last number of years is, we had a hard time, not so much a hard time in whole, but we had some, for example, a millage that passed, right? Now granted, the person that was in charge of that should have taken care of that, but if we would have had some type of spreadsheet, like a watcher that has the dates, and it shows when things are coming up, and it's like a one, it's obviously it'd have to be a document that we could work on and edit. But just so we make sure that these type of things don't happen again, like, I mean, it's been how many years since our emergency manager has been under contract? And there's only so many things like that, but some type of document that shows, when whoever that person is, if it's a contracted employee or what have you, when it's gonna expire, so we can get it on the radar well ahead of time and not let these things, happen moving forward.
So we're gonna work as department heads to pull that together and trying to hit what's coming of these expired contracts as they come. But being in budget season, it's really difficult to do that, but it is on our radar. We talked about it in length at the department head meeting, and I think everyone's willing to put in about whatever interconnected contract they have and to go through what the administrator's office has, because it is crucial.
Yeah.
Because then it relates not only to employment contracts, it relates to the grants that we can be able to receive. If we're not in compliance, it's really hard to get a FEMA grant if our hazard mitigation plan is not in compliance.
Well, I would imagine we aren't even eligible.
I would agree.
So, I mean,
What would have happened, and this is just probably derailment here, and I don't mean to, but I guess my thought process when you and I had spoke numerous times about this in the last 2 weeks, like, wonder if there was something that happened in, let's say, downtown West Branch, there's lots of trucks that go through, trains that go through, that carry chemicals, liquids. I guess with us not being in compliance, what liability would there have been a liability there? Say if something didn't go according to plan?
I would imagine if it was in the city, I have spoken to some of the public that have received other grants for like flooding, because they've received those and gone through the state. It depends of where the funding source comes from and where you're getting it from. But I think when you have any emergency situation that's outside of anything that you can pre-plan, of course, liability would fall wherever it leads back to.
So this is primarily for receiving grants.
No, it gives you
Lost me
your,
somewhere there.
it gives you the base foundation of what you do in a hazardous situation to move forward. That's why it's very important to have this in conjunction with your EOC. Because your EOC is going to be your law enforcement, your emergency personnel. It's gonna be everybody that's gonna be tackled of who do I call when this happens? What do I do? Who do we activate? And if we don't have that EOC in conjunction with this hazard mitigation plan, it's gonna be people using common sense, doing the best they know how to do. And that isn't going to be best for our citizens, and that's liable for Ogemaw County.
Absolutely.
What I was asking, the word grants keep coming up and then coming up and coming up. So I just wanted you to clarify that, just how important.
It is very, that's what was
Was and
thrown at
is.
me, is that's why I wanted to reiterate, that was the explanation for the grants, is to write the position. However, in the interim, what do we do if something does happen?
Yes, that's the main concern.
Is this RFP? Is a model that for the last contract we had with them, or is this above and beyond that?
It's much more above and beyond, because the contract was very limited.
Okay. I
And
wouldn't mind seeing a copy of the limited contract.
I think the contract was very limited and very not visible.
correct.
Well,
Can you get your hands on it or no?
Yes,
I get.
the contract doesn't come with a job description.
Okay.
So the duties are not defined in the contract. If the contract is for employment, but I'd be happy to send you what I have.
Okay. Well,
Can we, oh, I'm sorry, since we definitely want to move forward with this, and I don't know whether or not we'll be voting on anything or not next week. I doubt we will, but at the regular meeting, I mean, I don't think there's gonna be a ton of things to actually vote on. Can we put this under discussion items, so all of us have an opportunity to at least look at this, and then we can openly, somewhat briefly, talk about it, add things, so we can continue each week moving forward with this.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, you guys good with that?
Good.
A lot more to come. Item 60, budget amendments for sheriff's office for multiple line items. Under sheriff, come on up. I saw you hiding back there. No, you did not. The red shirt.
You can run, but you can't hide.
How are you, sir?
Hanging in there. How are you?
Jane. So I guess who wants to, you guys have met numerous times this week. Thank you for the cooperation. Thank you for the communication. And it sounds like all has went very well. Okay,
I'll start. So I met with the sheriff a few times last week in discussions. Just so you know, depending upon what happens with the budget amendments, we will be putting claims in next week. We do have all the information and the invoices for the claims. They were provided by the sheriff. We met and went line by line. I think you'll see it in the memo. In the budget meeting, it became apparent that there was an issue regarding not budgeted correctly regarding phone lines. So we took a deep dive into, there was only one phone line budgeted prior budget year, so that needed to be corrected. Then we went by every single line to come in compliance. We looked at every line item, what was spent up until this fiscal year, knowing we had 3.5 months, to make sure that everything was budgeted correctly. What was going to be under budget, what was going to be over budget, what were the areas, what was the average that was spent in the prior, what bills are going to come up, everything line by line to come in compliance. It's the reason why you have everything by single budget is because it's easier to understand than a roadmap trying to lead back to it. Is it wasn't only the overtime road patrol budget that we were looking at, we looked at every single thing. There was, along with the phone, the food, for feeding and for people in the jail wasn't appropriately budgeted. That was looked at, the average of what was spent, to recalculate everything that would be in compliance until the end of this fiscal year um, with hopes there was no great exception that was coming up, and you can't plan for that. However, everything was comfortable within that, looking at every line item. At the end of our meeting, you're gonna see at that last paragraph that with all of these corrections, additions, movements, compromises, that the sheriff, the undersheriff, and I agreed that a strategic budget planning meeting to happen with the board strategically should be scheduled sooner than later to review the long-term staffing and looking for the 26-27 budget year to have a strategic plan of creativity, and that everyone was agreeable to come with an open mind.
Comments, Commissioner Serbrook?
Well, I've gone over this and I'm very happy to see what's happened here in the communication between our administrator and the sheriff's office staff, so I am very happy with the outcome.
I guess I should have asked you, Paul, do you have anything to add before I?
No, I think that was a very good presentation as far as what you received on your iPads. It summarized it real well, made it easy to work through, you know, how we came to these conclusions. So we found several items that were under budget or over budgeted. Saying that we were able to move money around internally and then project out so that we can try to get to the end of the year.
Commissioner Scott?
Well, this is the need for accurate budgeting. I don't think that our audience likes to hear that 8, 9 months into a budget that we're moving money around within it. Just doesn't project the working government thing. It's just, I don't wanna hear that kind of talk, that we gotta move money around within. Just doesn't sound right.
I would interject, Commissioner Scott, that a budget is a living document. You know,
I get,
I mean,
It's a working document.
things happen, so.
yeah, I get that too. But we gotta be, it can't be just a wish list at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the budget, just a wish list that you wanna have it, and then that's the old adage, if I got it, then I'm gonna blow it at the end. You know, that's what people think, and I don't like that idea.
I'm happy that you found this money. I mean, this is all coming from you guys.
Within. Correct.
So I mean, that's extremely exciting, and I hear what Commissioner Scott's saying, but this is a working budget, and you guys are in a department where things change daily. Unexpected things. So.
Some of this is overspent. This isn't just all because something happened.
We're not out there spending down each line item. If I don't have to spend money on uniforms, then that money can be moved for an overage and overtime or something. I'm not running out at the end of the year and spending like you indicate has happened in the past. I'm doing my best to manage the limited resources that we have for the road patrol.
Commissioner Wiltie.
We've talked about scheduled overtime
It-
in the past.
We only have 2 bodies per shift. So that's where the strategic meeting is gonna come into play.
We're scheduling that. That's more to come on that. Both sides have agreed to it. We are moving forward with that. There is a plan in place.
Wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate the communication. I mean, obviously, you know, there's been times over the last number of years, there's been some walls between us and the commission and the sheriff department and the jail. And, you know, I think we've all learned a lot. I think we've realized at this point in time that we need to communicate and work together. And at the end of the day, the end goal is we're trying to do what's best and keep our residents as safe as they possibly can with what we have to work with. I mean, in a perfect scenario, yeah, we wouldn't have to touch the budget adjustments, everything's perfect, but we know that's not the case. The bottom line is, if we're sitting here at the table, we're talking, we're being civil, we're trying to come up with, resolutions to our problems, and that's all you can ask for, so. I'm really happy to see what's happening.
Is there a time frame of when this budget, meeting is going to happen, just so we don't lose track of that, neither related to the overtime?
I think that, we have a lot of special meetings coming up, but I think, if we could do something in the third or fourth week of July, because that's when we're going to be really intense with budget meetings and things, I think that, that'll give us enough time to have everything adjusted if that's approved tonight, and then everyone's schedule, we can clear that out. If that's agreeable, I can send possible dates for everyone and see what we can come up with.
And some of it could be worked on going into that special meeting at the law enforcement meeting. I mean, some of the groundwork. Just another idea.
Some other confusion that's going to be, clarified is with these vehicles that occurred with the insurance company. Our administrator is now the main source of communication, so there's not, confusion, and there's gonna be one specific way of doing things, and all of that will be beneficial as well.
Yeah, and can I add to that?
Yes.
And to add to that too, that's not just because of the short term, that's an overall picture.
Absolutely.
It's, building inspector, anything, and it's good. It's good. It's gonna help streamline things, so.
Anything else?
So,
Go ahead.
the structure of a strategic meeting.
Yep.
Is it gonna be, just with, committee, by committee, or by the board?
She and I talked about that a little bit.
I'm asking the chair, I guess.
No, she and I had talked a little bit about that. We hadn't come up with a total plan yet, because it was just agreed upon this week after a very good meeting between the sheriff, undersheriff, and Francine. And they're agreeable again to come in, sit down with open minds and open communication with minimal frustration, hopefully. I'm in agreement with this budget, the transfers, only because there is a meeting in place and this overtime is going to be addressed. So, we talked about the law enforcement committee, having the meeting. We talked about the personnel committee having the meeting. She and I had not come up with a 100%, trying to figure out.
Can I
what-
interject?
Please.
I think it's a portion of each, right? I don't think you put the responsibility on the law enforcement committee. I don't think you put the responsibility on the personnel committee. I think you make it a collective, right? Is you have portions of that from every meeting that you come together, and then strategically, this is what came out of law enforcement. This is what came out of personnel. This is what we want to see. What else can we do? But I think it's really important to bring data from each of those meetings to see what we want, what's the realistic thing, what's the financial impact, what are we doing, what's working, what's not working, right? And then with all of those collective areas and committees, we come sit it here and say, okay, now let's bring it together. Because if we do it just in one committee, we're siloing it to get that creativity going.
I'd throw one more committee in there, the budget committee.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Not to stack another one in there, but I think that,
Well, I only say this because when we get into negotiation time, Commissioner Serbrook and I are the ones in those meetings, and then we come to this meeting and you yourself ask us, how did that come about? Well, to give you a play-by-play, this meeting would be a short meeting, because I'd have to explain the whole play-by-play every inch of the way. And I know it's frustrating for you because you didn't hear all the talk that goes on, and there's a lot of back and forth. So that's what I'm saying, if you wanna get into a strategic for the long-range planning, we're not talking about just the reaction to what's happened. We're talking about what's next down the road. I'm just throwing it out. Do you want, as the whole board? I'm not opposed to that at all.
I don't see myself personally from the past. I don't foresee that being beneficial. I think the sheriff and undersheriff also should have an input of how they would like this, to go. I never want to play-by-play, but I would like to know like how you got to that end result.
Well, that's a
Um,
play-by-play.
Can't foresee asking you for a play-by-play, but anyways, I mean, I would like them to, Francine and the sheriff and undersheriff to come up with, also, some recommendations. This is very important to all parties involved.
How-
And keeping the communication open and going and transparent.
How does it sound if the three of us come up with a plan and then present it?
Yes, please.
Is that agreeable to you, under sheriff?
That's-
And you got a little time,
you know,
not a lot, but a little.
One last comment.
Go ahead.
Oh, we do have budget and LE meetings on July 2nd. That's not that far away, and this obviously is something we want to get dealt with.
Well, I think we'll talk next week. We've learned to talk quite often now, so
Sounds good.
are you agreeable to that?
Yep.
Hey, anything else under sheriff? Yes, you.
Oh, you got one
We've
more.
got two more.
Budget amendments for road patrol overtime, that pretty much took care of that, correct?
They were separated differently because we were doing a lot of different things. I want to caveat and just go back to that group of budget transfers that you have to bring it to, that the insurance is going back to pay for the vehicle, over budget. So that's gonna decrease that from 35 down to 17. So that was the undersheriff's recommendation, because it only go back into that. So that was in that first group.
So you do have these separated. You have deputies overtime at 48.45 on the amendments for the sheriff's office, and then you have the 12,000 for.
I kept that separate, yes.
Yes.
I wanted to keep that separate because it was a completely different, identified revenue special fund balance that was found during a budget meeting that we went back, and that was done October 27th of 2025. So that memo explains exactly the recommendation that, then the rest goes back into their fund balance.
Questions on that?
Fran, can you tell us again what you said when you started off of the conversation about the monies going from the car?
Yes, so it is on. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 6th budget transfer request form under 6D. The insurance refund check that was received for 17,284, that's sitting there, would go into the vehicle purchase line item to take that over budget of 35,000 directly into that, because it is vehicle and they're both 259 accounts, until the USDA monies come in to make that line whole, because it's currently $35,000 over
Okay,
budget.
the USDA money's coming in.
Correct.
Which everything's rolling for that, and looking good.
We have signatures tonight,
Perfect.
yes.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
So the 6E explains that special line item that we found that was created October 27th and set aside, that was showing in their revenue, and that was from their fund balance. So the recommendation and agreement with the sheriff and undersheriff is to utilize that 12,500 to be allocated into the end of this fiscal year, and the remainder go back into their fund balance and not utilize the remainder of the whole 47,000.
And that 12,500 is that line item that just magically was sitting there with nothing happening, right?
Part of it.
Part of
was
it,
47,000,
47,000.
and this is talking 12.5, so.
But putting the rest in there and not recommending that to put that anywhere else. So then that leaves something in their fund balance with addition.
Right.
Unexpected costs.
Correct.
Anything else? Sounds like you guys got a hold on this. Over credit card fee of 39.54 sheriff's office.
Would be me.
What do you do?
I didn't realize I kind of operated off a business credit card would have a hard cap that you couldn't see. So we had a month where we had high training charges, sent 2 deputies to training. And then we also had a hotel room hit for the ORV training that we sent one of the part-timers to try to increase our ORV patrol presence. So with the 3 of those on the credit card, with trying to get some of the office supplies and paper, the last charge that caused the overage was paper for the tickets inside of one of the patrol vehicles. So it let it go over, thus the fee, and then it stopped. I operated erroneously thinking that a business credit card would have a hard cap that if you're a penny over,
Say
you're not gonna
denied.
yeah, you're not gonna get approved. We don't normally get that close to it anyway. I knew we were close. But I was erroneously operating off this current credit card cycle only has $200, $250 on it, so. It just, with the trainings on there, all coming together, it really kind of hit hard, brought that up fast, and that was let it go over, to my shock.
Francine, anything to add to this?
The credit card is automatically paid, so the fee is paid. However, the county cannot pay the 54 cents tax that was charged because it was $39.54. $39 was the overage charge that was paid, but the $54 the county can't pay. So
I'd seen the last time we did claims, there was a tax on a hotel room or something, and I'd seen there was a note on it that said we were getting reimbursed for, I don't think this is the same thing, but I remember seeing that.
No tax paid.
Yeah,
it was mine. I paid because I had emailed so many times and I just paid the $20 tax out of my pocket.
There's,
Because you only can email so many times, Expedia, and you can't.
well, then there are some of those taxes that we are not exempt from.
Correct,
You've got the
correct.
hotel taxes, and we're exempt from the sales tax, but there's other
Correct.
hospitality tax.
Service
things
fees.
Yes.
So I paid it out of my pocket. So yes, that's correct.
comments on this, Commissioner Scott?
These different transfers.
Oh.
We're looking at this one transfer, they're not numbered, but telephone expense, we're taking $5,000 from memberships and subscriptions and transferring over to cover telephone expense. But then go down to transferring to cover deputies overtime. We're pulling another $6,000 out of memberships and subscriptions, same line item number. Am I to believe that we have $11,000 sitting in memberships and subscriptions 9 months into the budget?
Everything that we had asked to pull out, I have to pull the.
Well, I remember memberships and subscriptions back at the original budget time, and I questioned that, and I was told that it was needed, it was really needed. And we've gotten 9 months into it and haven't spent it.
The AT&T bill was one of the biggest things. So that was coming out of the ARPA Tom's arena and coming into the 250. So we started coding that. The very first AT&T bill that was paid out of membership and subscriptions. Then we started breaking it down into actually where those go into that. So animal control and that type of thing. So I believe that membership and subscriptions was budgeted to account for AT&T bill back when we were doing that.
It was actually $12,197.88 in that line item.
Memberships and subscriptions.
Correct.
And we're not using it for memberships and subscriptions 9 months into the budget. I questioned that way back when. Why do we need $12,000 in memberships and subscriptions? I was told by the sheriff, we need that. It's a needed expense. And now 9 months later, we're not even using it for that. So if we're going to be responsible in budgeting, we need to put the money where it needs to go and not in a line that you don't even figure on spending it. A couple of years ago, we were doing this and it was training. We think we were into about the 11th month and we hadn't used thousands in training. And we transferred it out of training into something else, and it's like, really? 11 months and you didn't use all that money for training? And now it's memberships and subscriptions. I mean, I would thought if you had to have memberships to organizations, you would have spent that long time ago in a budget year.
And that's how we found it, because it hadn't been spent at this point. So next year, those numbers will be in the telephone expense, because now we have Verizon and AT&T. So those will be budgeted more appropriately moving forward, having the information in hand.
You have a live scan, we have a scanner there, correct? The ARPA money's purchased, correct?
ARPA, I don't know that ARPA purchased it, but there's 2 live scan machines there.
There's two different line items though. This is where it gets confusing. There's the live scan equipment and there's a live scan. So the two different, one is the subscription that's paid
Yes, one is
September and October.
September, yep.
In October, we checked to see when they were paid, and the other one, there's never been a charge, correct?
Yes, for the equipment, there's never been any equipment costs that have come out of that line. So we split the one bill with the clerk's office, on CPL and employment, and then the jail pays for the one that's in the back for inmates.
How much did we, so we're over budget with the food supply, this is for the corrections for the inmates, $4,000.
Can you give me the line item, please? The
For
101.
the foods, yeah, 101 for the food supplies corrections, 4,000 we took from that live scanning equipment over to the food supplies corrections.
Can you give me the?
101, 351,
Thank you.
769, 000.
So the sheriff's office was, over budget 681.23. We looked at the projections that, they're not gonna have enough. They're at 109% currently. And so to make that whole and have enough money until the end of the budget year, we're moving the one that hasn't been charged, because they haven't been charged in, I don't know how many years he said, but the last year they weren't charged during that budget year, and moving it over. Because it's an estimated, 3.5 more months that we need $3,400 in there, but then we need that 681.23 to be even as well.
And if you remember, right? We put an RFP out for food services, and that was the only response we got.
That's next on this. So we just need, do we need a resolution to pay that credit card fee, or is this just discussion?
This was just, it's already been paid, but we need the 54 cents paid. Because the county can't pay the 54 cents. If
So that's my question. Do you need a resolution to okay this payment?
of the $39 or the 54 cents?
The 54 cents.
The 54 cents, you don't need a resolution to take the 54 cents.
I would hope not.
No,
Okay.
the 54 cents needs to be paid and can
Okay.
be received.
You need nothing from us.
All the four cents one day.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
A lot of times, like, if there's an issue like that, or, you could call, say you're late a day on a payment, you can call and they can waive those fees. Did anybody try calling, see if we could waive it?
I did not.
Oh.
The treasurer's office pays the credit cards directly, so, there's discussion that we should be notified if that happens again, for something, but I think that's a great idea to at least maybe the $39, still owe the 54 cents probably, but.
That is true. Okay, Rancher's billing requested to have bill itemized. Yeah, we talked about this. Looking at those claims, it's rough.
So.
We gotta do something better.
Yeah, we are. I talked to the jail administrator. Rancheros doesn't, the way they do their computer system can't spit out a daily. They put it into an account. The problem arose with this one because of the 4-week period with the jail credit card being shut down. He wasn't able to go on a weekly basis to make the payment each week. So you saw that laundry list of 4 weeks of all compiled together, hamburgers, all that stuff together to get a check to try to catch it up until the credit card was reauthorized. So that was where some of the confusion is. But moving forward, there will be an itemized daily of what's ordered for inmates if there are any more lunches ordered and or any dinners, if it makes that are there for the dinner hour. So that'll come along with the credit card payments. Once that's activated, you'll have an itemized, this is what was spent Monday, this is what was spent Tuesday. The number of orders.
There was like bills, $700, $300, and I mean, you just explained that over a month's time, but it was very extensive. And it has been, and it's been very confusing,
Well, I think we had talked about it, so just list like 36 burgers.
yes.
12 tacos.
He explained to me that the burgers were lunches and then the other items on there would be dinner. That's how they break it up, so. Their computer just isn't able to spit out like that for whatever reason. And then especially because he wasn't able to with the credit card being shut down, he was going on a weekly basis, catching that bill up every week. So it was a little more easy to understand that was a week's charges. When we got into the situation with the credit card down, it was climbing so high. We've done this once before, if you remember, it was last year, where we submitted a bill such as this to get a paper check to catch it back up. And then resumed with the credit card payments.
Do you remember when you put that out for RFP?
Been a while.
Yeah, it's.
Year ago, year and a half.
I think just about a year ago.
I think I was-
We set the budget.
So when did the jail go down to a holdover? When
26, so 25, 24.
We're going on,
24, yeah, October, yes,
October 2nd.
October 1st.
we got 2 years.
Second year of
Mhm.
this.
So we
New
need to put this back
configuration.
out for RFP.
I just had one.
Go ahead.
So obviously I know we put this to RFP and, you know, there wasn't a lot of, interest in there, which is not good, but we're seeing it all over. But one thing that really bothers me is, you know, our taxpayers in the county pay enough money for people who break the law and we have to pay for them. And now people that break the law when they come into our jail, they get to eat rancheros. I don't like it at all. I don't think it's right. Our county taxpayers, again, pay enough money to operate the 72-hour lockup as it is. And then when they're there, people that are breaking the law are getting paid, are getting to eat rancheros. I don't like it. I don't think a lot of people like it. I know we had discussions of looking into other options. Now, our jail administrator, is he looking into other options that we can do of, you know, we looked at event one time, you know, sandwiches and a bottle of water and a bag of chips. Are we doing any of that anymore or?
There was one idea, if you recall, I talked to you briefly about it, a commissary kitchen.
Oh, yeah, you were looking, yeah, you had said.
So I've not been able to explore much more into that other than the concept, and it's more in larger metropolitan areas. Don't know if there would be enough of a draw in northern Michigan for a commissary kitchen, but basically what I was seeing is that they use an industrial kitchen like that for food trucks and caterers to come and prepare their food in bulk, and then you can charge access through contracts or storage fees for both cold and dry. So you know, if that was just something that I came across that we talked about. I talked to an instructor up at Traverse City. He's an instructor at their culinary school up there, and he was the one that, because I was talking to him about, okay, what kind of ideas could we have with this kitchen that's an industrial type of thing, and that was what he suggested to me. So I did some internet research, but I haven't got much farther than the basic concept. I did locate, Lake County has some documentation of the rules and regulations they have over commissary kitchens, so there's some to getting it set up, and you'd probably have to look at somebody to kind of manage that. But I don't know if a revenue stream would come in through there.
I mean, I think I'd like to put that on the agenda for the law enforcement meeting, Fran, for a second. I mean, we're going into 2 years now. We've talked with other officials, we've talked to state officials. You know, we've got a building that our taxpayers are paying almost $400,000 a month on. Now, it is great that the sheriff department moved over there and we do still have the lockup. But we need to continue to look at what we can do with that building over there. And if we can generate money, we need to look into that, so.
Commissioner Scott,
I think that, it may sound like they're eating well and it's costing a lot of money, but this is not costing that much money. I can tell you that they do not have the personnel over there that can make meals, right?
Right.
So they're going to come back to us and say, I need to hire a guy to cook in there. And that's $85,000 to $95,000 a year. Okay, between wages, retirement, bennies, all the costs, and they cost, and then you would, as we did before, they're probably gonna be certified to be a corrections officer. Because that's only gonna help things, so that add another $20,000 on. Because you're not just hiring a cook, you're hiring an officer that cooks. It sounds like it costs a lot of money, but really, the only thing I could say is we could RFP again, and if we did, then now we got historical data saying how much money we spent. Maybe some of these restaurants didn't think they'd sell enough to us. And they didn't want to bid it because it was low dollar. Now we can show them that it's a range. So they may want to be competitive bidding. But I think we're coming out cheaper. I mean, this is just the same ideas as going to that lockup. It costs money to have corrections officers there, not at the level that we had before, but it still costs us.
Over $1 million.
I know, over $1 million. Now, in some people, you'd say, wow, you're spending $1 million? Well, if we went back to what we were doing, we'd be right now, if we were going up 100,000 a year every year, we'd be at 2.6 right now. So, yeah, I'm spending $1 million, but I'm saving 1.6. And I think food service is the same way. I can buy it down the street, already prepared by somebody else, rather than me hiring somebody to prepare it.
Can I comment that?
Sure.
No, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is these people are breaking the law. I know that supposedly they gotta have so many proteins or whatever. But if we can get away with giving them a sandwich and chips, I would like us to look into that again. Then that's what they should get, is a sandwich and chips. They shouldn't be getting rancheros. A sandwich and chips is, I think, is something manageable, or there's all these microwavable dinners. They've got, protein and everything in it. If they can get a microwavable dinner, we can microwave a dinner at $2.30 a pop. I'm just saying, I want us to look into options still. I don't want us to close the door.
The
on it.
idea of looking at.
That's all I'm saying.
One option, I guess, is can we hire a part-time cook that could prepare meals that he doesn't have to be there to serve meals? Like what you're saying. Like, does he need to be there in the morning for breakfast? No, if we're just giving him cereal and milk.
I'm asking for a more
somebody
itemized,
doesn't have to be there.
There will be.
a much more, and we've asked a couple of times, so I'd like to move forward with that. That was pretty alarming.
It's already been implemented, so they are recording on a daily basis what's being ordered for the inmates that are in facility at lunch and dinner hours.
And let's also look at it redoing, it's been over a year, another RFP, which is standard. Just moving forward. So we
Put it on our list next week. to
I've been
meet.
thinking-
just so that we're moving forward with that.
I know you just made the comment that in the event that somebody's there for dinner. Because a lot of times dinner is the meal that they're not there for,
Correct.
but like tomorrow, there's probably a really good chance that somebody's gonna be there for dinner tomorrow. Because being that the county building shut down and all the courts are shut down, there's probably no need to make that trip, the evening trip back to Gladden. Cause you can hold them over till the next day.
Depending on the circumstances. There are
Right.
A lot of
Depending on the circumstances.
medical and everything else, so, yeah, but we try to hold them for certain circumstances also, where they stay in facilities, so.
Things still going well with like Gladwin and everybody that we're neighboring with inmates? I mean,
Yeah, there's no major stressors with Gladwin and, they're back to mid-60s as far as their inmate population when I looked at it today, so It's been a little bit better, but we've not had any major issues.
I just did,
Yeah,
I did that for you.
Thank you.
So
Thanks, Bob.
you meet me for the USDA portion of it?
Oh, I think I can.
Okay. See if I can finalize our earlier discussion.
Okay.
4:30.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Paul,
Budget amendments for Veterans Affairs.
If you see attached, you have a budget transfer request form. It's over the $2,500, so it's coming to you for request. There's some line items that are very specific. That's the first one for Veterans Affairs. It's 3404 coming out and going into different line items that were over budget.
Questions? Commissioner Wiltie,
come back to me,
Commissioner Scott.
please.
So they're just asking for,
3404.
so, training expense, is this the newest hire?
They were, I have to pull theirs. I don't really know. When this came through, we had talked about, because we had talked about other line items of the reason why he was over budget. Their training line item was for a lengthy training that he went to along with the new hire, correct? So it was 2. And their trainings are very expensive.
Mhm. What is the, in the transfer from the line that,
The second one.
the services, yeah,
That's what I was trying to figure out too.
is that just misspelled?
That's
or-
misspelled. That's, yeah, when they.
It's supposed to be contract services.
Correct, and it was misspelled before it came through. I can't, as on my side, I can't amend their,
Request form.
Their spelling? Okay.
correct.
All right, that's fine.
I really appreciate this, how this is transfer from, transfer to. That way there's no mystery, there's no,
Mhm.
there's a paper trail now. It's easy for us to understand. This is very, very nice, so I appreciate this.
I can understand the contract services, travel expense and maintenance, but once again, we're 9 months in and we have $2,000 in office supplies. I mean, I'm not pointing fingers at people, I'm just saying the budgets, the way we make the budgets, it sure seems like some of these lines are really inflated.
Well, Commissioner Scott, can we go to the second Veterans Affairs budget? That has to do with a lot. So at our budget meeting, they had a lot of different line items that were over budget. I sent an email requesting if we could talk about the over budget expenses. As well as, Mr. Nichols will be here in July to do a presentation to the Board of Commissioners. And, he emailed back and he said, yes, I will take a look at those. However, I've been waiting for a budget transfer since January of 2026 and forwarded me the email. So therefore, you see on that second one, there was an email exchange. There was a created line item for this capital outlay of furniture or furnace installation of $72,000.
Mhm.
So when this wasn't completed and didn't come to the board and wasn't completed to be transferred, it put all the other line items that they were taking for out of sync of where it came from. So that's why the two go hand in hand.
So now there's a sense of urgency.
There's a sense of urgency on this, yes, correct.
I get that. But as we say, business, and we're not trying to point fingers, but when we get to that next budget, I just think that we really need to nail down what we're really gonna spend in those line items and not just puff. Just an observation.
Okay, we're good with that?
Yes.
Budget transfer request for Veterans Affairs, you kind of just covered that.
Yes, I did those two, yes.
Budget transfer of bailiff wages.
Bailiff wages, I looked at this, as you know, when your interim administrator came here, he presented budget, bailiff wages along with deputy overtime. That was denied, so therefore the bailiff wages were still going to be not they would be over budget by the end of this fiscal year. Looking at that and projecting that, I did speak with Karen while she was there of where we could have some money to come from to pay for the bailiff wages because we couldn't pull it out of somewhere else because we were really tight. Tracy and I worked on the projected wages that were paid thus far and the maximum of could be in courts because we also didn't want to come back for saying we're short $125 this month or whatever it was. And the maximum for district court, the way they have it scheduled, circuit court, front of the court, those items, and then the hallway security. So therefore it was an estimated of $8,100.
Comments, Commissioner Scott?
No, not on this.
Commissioner Wiltie?
So I know you've had some conversations with Rick. What's the main reasons for us being over budget with the bailiffs?
It was never projected with the pay increases that they received and the funding that was done. And the calculations that were brought, I believe in February or March of this year, there was how much that they were paying and we were hoping that the 4.5 was doing that, but it still was never budgeted enough from the beginning for the calculations.
If I remember right, the budgets were done and then we adjusted the
Correct.
pay scale
Correct.
after the fact, and then the budget was never readjusted for that wage scale adjustment.
Because there were some conversations we had regarding possibility of some double dipping and things that we immediately talked about to make sure those things weren't happening. So none of those things that happened are the big cause of this.
Well, I went back to look at, so I was gonna bring it up in our later conversation, but I'll address that here. So when I began to approve the time, because then when it moved over to me, I think I was here maybe a month when it moved over to me and I started looking at the times, I found some 7 a.m. payments that we were paying, particularly one person, every time they worked. I had a discussion and said that it's not fiscally responsible when there wasn't any duties at 7 a.m. to pay. I went back to calculate how many hours we actually paid for these times that maybe weren't worked or not worked. And the bailiffs did not have to punch into UKG until December 15th, I believe. It was in that week. Prior to that, their time was approved in UKG by 4 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. How many hours that they worked, it was just put in as the number of hours worked. So therefore, that time when the budget started in 10-1, not only we didn't calculate for the increases of their pay from 10-1 until 12-15, we have no idea how many hours were actually worked, or there was not a punch in and punch out.
But that hadn't changed, it had been that way.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
So-
I can't calculate accurately
We're just
from
changing that.
10-1 to 12-15,
We're just
because
changing that moving forward.
12-15 on, you can look at, and I've adjusted some people's times, and we're gonna talk about another lunch hour situation that came up later on the agenda. However, I can't go back from prior to 12-15.
Gotcha. Thank you.
We have a better handle on things moving forward.
Much better, Ann.
Okay? Other comments? Obviously we have to do this, but we have made some pretty significant changes
Yes.
in the last couple of weeks related to this. Okay, budget transfers for MIDC.
MIDC is a budget transfer that is going from one of their line items to the other. They don't have their own category, so I did have them put on this form. As you can see there, they have the money, it's just moving from one line item to the other, and it is on here, and since it's over the threshold, it's coming in front of you. I would like to also discuss, I met with MIDC, they'll be coming in July as well to do a presentation about the North Coast Legal. We're gonna have 2 presenters that night that have a very brief PowerPoint, I suggested. to explain, what are what their requirements are. I would, very exciting that the carpet in the law library was put in today. And, the partitions that were ordered, I did purchase them, but MIDC, I received an email that they will be paying for those. So they've been really great partners so far, that just with a couple of meetings that I've had.
Questions? Any? Commissioners? Okay, move forward. Budget transfers for MERS not calculated accurately for fiscal year 25. 26.
So as you see there, there's multiple line items that were done. Tracy and I worked on this as it was discussed probably a few weeks after I was here, and finally went to go speak of this. Also, I talked about and sat down with Karen looking, and we do have the forfeiture money from MERS that was increased, that was able to use for this. So as you see, it's pretty, I told you exactly what happened. Some of the calculations were at the beginning, it was calculated at 1%, not 7%, calculated for 3%, not for 7%. Social Security wasn't calculated correctly. And so these would make these budget adjustments that we would not be over budget by the end of this fiscal year.
Comments, questions?
No, I mean, it's itemized right on the request form as to what the issues were, so. And the money's gonna come out of the money we're gonna get back from MERS for.
We already have it, so
we-
that's, yes.
Mon-
Oh, I'm sorry.
money that's already come back from MERS when employees have left, and that's the county share that got paid in already, that they are not collecting because they weren't vested. So I mean, it's our money. It's just gonna get reallocated from one MERS account to another.
Where was the part-time secretary that was included?
I believe that was the sheriff's office.
Oh.
That was included
Yeah,
in,
it is.
and so that was the decrease. I showed you the decreases too, so we're balancing, right?
Any other comments, questions? Commissioner Scott? Sure.
Yeah.
It's like you're thinking, okay. Revision for emergency management plan and fire drill.
So,
Question.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Don't we have one more, the transit?
It's,
We got it listed down at the bottom.
Oh, we didn't put that with the rest of these?
it's not.
just because I received it later and I didn't want to mess up the
Okay,
items.
all right, yep.
Revision for emergency management plan and fire drill.
When I first came here, this was approved by the board, the emergency plan and fire drill handbook. However, there was many department heads that approached me that they would like to sit down and go through this. That's going to be appropriate. A fire drill was scheduled, the first Friday I was here. I went over to the annex and there was, some issues, and I thought it was imperative to have department heads and elected sit down and discuss this, and everyone knows what the plan is, and that we have continuity between each other before a fire drill is implemented, and we have a plan going forward. I can say with those department head meetings and going through this and working on it, it has been a great process to work with department heads to develop this. This was, we went through it 2 meetings at our final department head meeting. This was we had a few map changes. Department head did that and filled in. So this has been approved by all the department heads and electeds that sat, that this is, everyone understands this, and that it'll be their job as the department heads to go back to their employees, that everyone has this emergency action plan. At the point this was written, it did not include the bailiff and securities, even though they're our first line here. So they were included to come to the meeting as well for their input, as they're going to be a part of this plan. So I'm requesting that this amended plan be adopted, and then we can go forward to set a fire drill and have this implemented as a document, a working document for our county building.
You already had your first fire drill.
That was the real thing. That wasn't a drill.
I know, but perfect.
It was perfect.
It was
a
perfect.
great learning experience as well.
That's what's needed. Comments, questions?
Just one question.
Commissioner Wiltie.
So would this typically be your responsibility, or should this be the responsibility of emergency manager?
In theory, Commissioner Wiltse, it would be the emergency manager. However, many people came to me and kind of wanted to change things because it was written in language that they didn't understand and things that weren't agreed upon the department heads. So typically it is done by the emergency manager and usually presented, and I think that's what it was before I came here. But some things needed to be changed, so our two floors knew what to do and how to do it.
Okay.
Commissioner Scott?
No, I think that if we get to the emergency manager, and that ought to be right in the job description. And because if you're gonna work for us, then you gotta take care of us. Not just the rest of the county. Or another county for that matter. So, but something in the building is needed. I know that some people think it's an inconvenience. But if it is real, it's not gonna be inconvenient. It's gonna be inconvenient when somebody can't find their way out.
Now, is this part of when a new hire that they have to check that they've reviewed this?
That's gonna be my request on the new policies
Yeah.
that we have changed. And moving forward, I'd like to implement an HR form that talks about each form that is done, even though there's some that are done, but everything, a new plan and policies that they know, incident reporting, all the new ones that we had in, that they're checked off and it goes in their HR file.
Yeah, we have to review this annually, and then we also have to have a fire drill, tornado drill once a year. So Commissioner Serbrook?
I'm glad to see the department heads and everybody got together and agreed upon a plan, and I think it's excellent, and I'm happy to say that our county administrator found the keys for the fire boxes so they could be reset.
We did. was so
As opposed to
excited.
using 2 nails.
In the heat of the moment. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Have we done an active shooter?
We haven't. We talked about it at a department head. They actually, now the new term is active assailant is what they call, because it's changed. However, I've reached out to Michigan State Police and trying to get some dates and that we can do that because we'll have to shut the county building and that'll come to your attention. We discussed that twice at a department head meeting. It's something that they haven't had done. So with that department head, we're gonna have active assailant, along with the fire drill, tornado drill, and as needed. We did change the language there as needed because there may be some other safety things that I'm working with our insurance provider that's going to add to our employees at no cost. That's really important.
Thank you.
There used to be just, when I was back in high school in the health occupational class, we participated every year. There used to be an emergency drill. They used to hold it out at the fairgrounds, and that was unfortunately many years ago, but where there was like a multi-casualty. like
Mass casualty incident, yeah.
Yes,
Get
and
'em-
everybody responded, and
Get 'em
it was just amazing.
Every 3 years.
Yes.
Full scale.
Well, it's really
Perhaps
important
yours-
too that we do a resolution and you approve it. Is if people don't want to participate, they'll be, they don't have to participate because the ones that are done currently, they have starter pistols that they use that because it's like a real gunshot to prepare you for that.
Okay, food for thought moving forward. Housing consulting services contract.
As you see in front of you, you have the housing consulting services contract that was drafted up from our attorney. It's pretty basic. Leanne's on the phone with us as well. She has been sent a copy and it was discussed. There's a faceted approach here. There were several things that in discussing, when our auditor was here, I had talked about the services of housing consulting services. They were unaware they were a private business. So they made some recommendations for some language about changing name on our documents to Housing Consulting Services, as now it says Ogemaw County Home Improvement Program, which that liability is on us. And so this is just the first step in the contract to discuss as they are moved at the annex building. The second part is Leanne and some other agencies, we're going to meet next week and have a discussion to say how we can maximize services continue the services we have, but just moving forward of how do we separate? Because currently, right now, speaking with legal, he's not aware of any third-party administrator that mixes county money within itself. It's usually separate. And so how do we move forward? And I think it's maybe we define language or set up different parameters. So speaking with Leanne, I talked with Mishta today, and we're gonna have some conversations next week of how do we do that regarding the finances? Because our auditor had some recommendations, because currently now, the monies that are paid from a private business that we receive our grants is one pot of money with Ogemaw County. So this is only part one. We have a lot to talk about in the other areas, and Leanne, I asked her if she would meet next week to be part of those conversations with the agencies.
Leanne, you're on the phone. Do you have anything to add? Tom, are you able to unmute her?
I'm not certain that's the Leanne you guys are speaking about.
Okay.
She spells her name differently.
My apologies.
Mine as well. So have you guys had an opportunity to look over this?
She has, I sent it to her and I spoke with her about a charged fee as the separation because of the business, and it's comparable to exactly what other people pay at the annex building.
So that was my question. I wanted everybody's opinion on as far as a fee for them to pay for rent.
We should up the rent up across the board. The rent to everybody else is almost 9, 10 years old. Costs of everything have gone up.
I think it's a discussion we need to have.
I think
Great, I think we need to put that on the, why don't we
Yeah.
put that on the committee of the whole for next one right now? This is related.
discussion for a later time.
I don't wanna sign this to go all the way to June 21st, 27 if we're gonna.
Well, I have some mixed feelings on this. So over there we have, I know we have 911, I know we have MSU. Building, do they pay any rent?
They
Do
do,
pay-
Yeah.
They pay $1,000?
They
Is it all
do.
the same for?
yes.
Was
Oh, boy.
Leanne in agreement that she could pay the $1,000 for company?
I don't think it was an agreement, it was a conversation. She said, I don't make that much money.
But she knew that that was the topic of conversation, like that was
The topic of
amount.
conversation, is many times she said she doesn't have an option. I said, you always do have an option. Being a private business, you could open a business somewhere else.
Correct, and.
And she
does-
did say it would be a lot more money.
She does utilize this office for all their.
All
counties as
three
well,
counties, yeah.
Correct. I mean, I think it's fair. If she couldn't do this, I would have hoped that she could have been here. She knew this was on for tonight.
She
knew
did.
This is amount who's being discussed. I want to be transparent.
I reported last month when Mark and I went to the Department of Health meeting that Iosco County is charging the Department of Health in their annex building $2,400 a month. I don't think the first question comes up is, can they afford it? I don't think that's the appropriate first question. First of all, the people that are over there, 911 sitting on what, $1 million fund balance? MSU sits on a big fund balance. MSU, we cut back their appropriation back after COVID, because they had so much money. I mean, these other departments, they have that money.
Comment.
Go ahead.
Well, what we need to do is we need to do just a market comparison, a market analysis of real estate. Like you said, you got a price from another county, what they're charging. And just do an analysis so we can get a fair price of what, commercial real estate would be and what other counties are charging. Then we can get a little better idea on this, but I just think one thing we want to keep in mind, and I know a lot of things have come about with the housing and with, Leanne and the services she's doing. I just really wanted to make sure two things. I really wanted to make sure, and she said that when it comes to actual physical work for other counties, she doesn't do that here on Ogemaw County's dime. Now, that's what she told us, right?
That's what she
did tell us.
said. She takes,
She also.
the phone calls get forwarded, but that,
Follow that up with phone calls do be forwarded, and I'm sure things are printed off, and that's paper and.
And then the other part of this is Leanne has done a fantastic job of being able to bring money into Ogemaw County
No
for
doubt.
residents. I know I've said this before, but residents that really need that assistance. A lot of these residents are younger individuals that have kids, you know, financially, they're not in good shape. They need roofs, they need windows, they need they need septics. And, you know, they really have helped a lot of people that I hope see those things, and then obviously they become more sustainable as they get older, because obviously we can't continue to pay for people's needs, but I think it's done a lot of great things for people that really need it or in a bad spot. So I want to keep that in mind, but it also, I mean, she's got to pay rent. We got to figure out what that fair market value is. And I think we need that discussion for, you know, 911 and MSU extension and, you know, everyone over there.
and I think we need to look at square footage.
Yeah.
Figure out what, you know, when you bring up what other counties are charging or whatever. And figure it out by the square foot, because obviously the footprint of 911 is a lot bigger than, let's say, Leanne or the building department.
Especially
You know,
what we
so-
get paid to do what we are seeing doing our claims, what we get billed for claims from 911.
Exactly, for entering warrants and things like that, exactly. You know, so I think it
Lot
ought to
more
be
than-
based on square footage,
Yeah,
once we do that market assessment, you know.
Right.
Per
That'd be the
square
fairest
foot.
way to.
Exactly, yes, yep.
well, you gotta take all that into consideration,
Mhm.
square footage, staff members, offices with, agreed. So I guess I'm gonna agree with Commissioner Scott here. I guess, should we hold off with the amount until we decide with this contract? I would do, or should we just put a different expiration on there? As far as the amount that you're gonna
September-
charge.
September 30th expiration, and then hopefully have our due diligence done to figure out square footage costs and implement that in the beginning of the fiscal year.
That way we start everybody on the same page. Again,
This is suggestion.
again.
It's gonna take a little bit for market analysis, find out some of them comps and stuff like that, so.
But it'd be nice to have it done with the new budget.
Well, absolutely.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Absolutely.
Just one more thing on your plate.
It's gonna be that tough. I don't think you're gonna get a lot of kickback.
Well, I'm gonna, for this specific contract, I still want to be equitable. Because
Agreed.
we're going from a business, regardless of their private business have been operating, they're gonna go from 0 to 1,000. Those other places have a lot more space.
Yep.
And if we're gonna hold off to charge them more rent than the 1,000, and the other people have been getting 1,000 for so much time and they have so much space, I just want it to be equitable for them as well.
Well, if it's clear that, I mean, commercial real estate, I mean, obviously square footage, as Commissioner Serbrook stated, is the way that we're gonna have to go about this. I mean, there's really no other way to do it. But if she has a lot less square footage now than these other places and we're charging them 1,000, then really it wouldn't be right for us to charge her 1,000. We should,
Oh, we should charge everybody else more.
well, we're gonna have discussions on that, but right now we just have what we
You
have,
just got
right?
done telling us about how to make money at the jail.
I understand that, Commissioner Scott, but right now we're just trying to get this so we can move forward and then get in a
This
place
contract.
for, you know, for our next fiscal year.
Correct.
My only concern with the contract is the rent. The rest of it is pretty much a done deal. Our legal team approved it. This is what needs to be done.
Is it substantial less space than, say, for example,
No, the way that I wrote it is they have 3 offices, 1 large conference room. The conference room is Leanne's office, so that's really that small conference room that you know you're well aware of. And then 2 offices and then an entire room for files. So 4 offices total. So we called it 3 offices and shared file space because we have to be conscious of, we have a zoning administrator that may need to put some things in there because he's really condensed space to make room. And so it's MSU that has the largest amount of space and large amount of offices that keep growing.
See, it's probably, their footprint's probably comparable to building and
Well, they have more room than building, actually.
That would take a
So-
lot
They have more space, a lot more than building.
911, I'm not sure.
911 takes up half the building.
That's used for, I would say it's pretty comparable to 911, but
And then there should be a shared conference room. You might as well just figure that to be a different rate, but they all gonna use it one time.
Leanne's office, that was that small conference
I mean,
room that was
I
shared.
mean,
Oh, yeah. I see. what you're saying.
They're gonna use it one time or another. They're gonna use it. So
Just like,
I guess two parts of this. Are you guys okay with $1,000 a month?
until
That's- And
September
the second
30th.
part of that, do you wanna do you wanna do anything with that expiring date? Because they're from June 22nd, 2026 and expiring June 21st of 2027.
I'd leave the rate the same as it is in the contract and change the expiration date to September 30th of this year.
I mirror that.
I understand, I hear you guys, and I'm the one that opened this conversation. The other aspect of that is she's going from zero rent to $1,000. We've given these other guys rent for 8 years, I believe, at $1,000. This is a private, small business. These other ones are private entities with millage money coming in, just for something, food for thought. We don't want to break these guys. That's not our plan.
No, we definitely do not want to do that.
This is a big change.
And again, they provide a fantastic service for the county. There's no
Correct. With this is a
ifs,
big
ands, or buts
change.
about that one, so.
This is a big change for them. So I just,
If we're out of if $1,000 is way out of the ballpark, she can move it home and put it in her living room, or I care. Put it in the basement, put it in the den, I don't care.
remember, this is a good service that we offer. to
That's
our-
fine,
to our
that's fine,
citizens.
and I'm giving them a roof over their head, paying their utilities. I think I'm doing a pretty good job doing that. I got a good idea what rental property goes for in this area.
Well, you have to remember, it includes all the services too. It includes computer, phone.
Yeah, take a look at the
Yes.
claims, how much we pay Xerox.
So a big shout out to Tom for making all this happen in a very short period of time. That was a pretty big
Happened
job.
fast.
Getting all of them moved over there. It wasn't
Oh, it's
easy.
Good thing we can do it that fast.
So we're agree upon 1,000, expiration. What do you guys want? Do you guys want the,
September 30th.
okay, 9:30. I'm overruled. On to the next one. Discussion of bailiffs coordinator, incident reporting and lunch hours.
So from our previous discussion, speaking about the financials, I've been, especially with looking at the being over budget by the end of this fiscal year with the bailiffs. I was looking at a lot of times regarding lunch hours. We have one in particular that I discussed about what he does, and he told me several times he doesn't take a lunch hour nor leave the building. There's been some discrepancies from other people, possibly, I don't know if it's just chatter, that in fact he may. So I've been asked several times about the lunch hour. Looking over, I do not think it's fiscally responsible to pay 9 hours of a full day to not justify some type of project that they're working on or he's working on. With that, there was a discussion stating that we don't pay for any employee's lunch hour. And how can I justify that to the board when I, at the time, looking at every hour we spend in bailiffs? And it said, well, I get called to emergencies. I said, really? What emergencies are we talking about that I don't know? Well, I got to help at the front or something during this period of time, and there needs to be a punch out, right? Like you have to punch out. But I think that goes to another thing is why are we scheduling full days? If it's just a full day to work, if that's the coordinator's position. So I cannot justify to you that we have 1 or 2 people getting a paid lunch without any action that they're doing when no other county employee gets a paid lunch. That's the first. During this conversation, Tuesday morning, 7:35-ish a.m., I was asked about our incident reporting. And I said, yes, we do incident reports online, and was asked if he needed to find out where they were. And he said, can I turn in a paper copy? I said, no, it's important to do it online because then it gets forwarded to me and we have a record. One of them was he wanted to fill out an incident report for the fire alarm getting pulled. But the second was he had stated that someone tried to bring a gun in last week. And it was an attorney, and by the time they found it, his guy did really good. And my comment was, it's Tuesday morning, this happened last week, why am I the first ones to hear about it? Because that's something that's important for the board to know. And it's the incident report is important to know. Is this a practice? And I still haven't received an incident report about it or conversation. Or an incident report with a conversation. All I was told that the incident report would come. That was Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. And as of when I walked in here, I still haven't had an incident report.
I believe you're on the security committee, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts for this?
I mean, a gun being brought into the building, that's, a major situation, and I would think our administrator should find out immediately. And we do need to be aware of that, but an incident report should be a top priority, again, with a gun brought in by a civilian. So that's not acceptable, and we need to get that report, and we need to make sure that the person that's supposed to be giving the reports knows moving forward, hey, there's timeliness on this stuff, especially on a situation like this, right?
Correct.
We're trying to create more accountability. This is just not picking on the bailiff side and security on everything, right? This is a situation where I think for years and years, just was not proper leadership and oversight, and, and we've got to get people out of that mindset and realize, things are different now. We're moving forward in a direction that makes more sense, processes, consistency, and we need to put the hammer down on this stuff.
Well, we literally just talked about this, and you have 24 hours to report an incident, correct? We literally, with the vehicles that were months, I mean, that was countywide. It wasn't just for the sheriff's office.
Well, and he was aware, because my comment was last week, every person has my phone number. Every person has my email. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was here very early and very long hours. Someone could have popped by and said, I'll fill out the incident report. There wasn't any communication of that until a week later.
Commissioner Scott.
Well, I go along with what Commissioner Wiltsey said. Yeah, we, time and time again, we found out stuff on Facebook or some other way. It's unbelievable what you find out on the street and everything else. I've said it a million times. If it costs money, then we need to know. That's our job. And any kind of claim, just any department, a civilian, just somebody walking up to the building, slips and falls, trips on the curb, slips on ice, whatever. Reports have to be made. We have to be aware of these things. Reporting car accidents months later doesn't cut it. I mean, yeah.
Talking about lunch hours, and you and I talked about this. I mean, it's a law. You have to take a lunch with the minimum amount of hours that are worked. So if they're not clocking in and out on these lunch hours, and they do happen to leave the building and they're still on the clock, there's a liability there.
Correct.
They're still on the clock. They're
Correct.
still working for us. I'm sure there's multiple aspects to this. This, I guess my question is one, for one, thank you for bringing this to us. For two is, what do we do with this? Is this enough to be reprimanded? Is this
Certainly is.
where we're headed?
If I can throw my 2 cents in.
Please, you were next.
Disciplinary action as to what the administrator sees fit, I would suspect there's probably gonna be at least a written warning and a corrective action plan attached to that. And as far as the lunch hour, it's mandatory. Whether you leave the building or not, you will take an hour for lunch and it will not be paid. That's my opinion. You can choose not to leave the building, but we're not gonna pay you.
So I think there's some confusion because most of them don't have a lunch hour because they do the 4.5,
Yep.
right? And so it's particular, I did just a really quick overview, particularly it's one scheduled for 9 hours, occasionally another one. So if it's past the 4.5 hours, they should be required to punch in and punch out.
Yep.
That was the whole thing about the 4.5, that they'd get done with 4.5, go to lunch and come back and maybe have to work.
But it wasn't in the resolution about.
I know,
So
but that's what they said, and, well, then all of a sudden we go to lunch and we gotta come back and now I gotta go to work. Well, geez, then to find out you never even went to lunch, you told us that and you didn't even go. Then you wanted to tap another 4.5. Jeez, man.
Yeah, there needs to be disciplinary action. I agree, a plan in place. We need a paper trail to follow this. This has been ongoing. You and I have talked about this a couple different occasions as well. This has been ongoing for quite an extensive period of time. And shame on us for, shame on whomever for not catching this.
If we don't do it, and we're saying to our department heads
Correct.
that they don't have to do it. No, everybody has to do it.
It's the law and it's a liability, so. Good with that?
Good with that.
Okay, and I guess just to revert back to that, for incident reporting, do we have a plan in place for any incident that's not reported within a 24-hour period? What is gonna be our plan moving forward?
I'll have to read the verbiage that's on there.
So again, we make sure everybody's on board with this, every department. Resolution to approve the 2026 tax rate requesting and signing L4029.
This was brought from the equalization director. I'm requesting, I know this isn't typical, but I'm requesting a resolution tonight to be approved. That's why I put it in there and to be signed. This is something that has been done on a yearly basis, and it's something that he brought to me this week and needs to have signed to have completed.
Why the tardiness of this?
It was waiting on something because there's another part of this. So that's why the resolution was written to be signed tonight. And as you can see from last year, the mills have changed. It's the same language that was presented last year, but the mills have decreased.
Went from
Headley
si-
gets the rollbacks.
Huh?
Probably because the rollbacks, probably because of Headley.
Yeah, it went from 6.0066 to 5.9549.
Correct.
I want to make sure everybody hears that. It went down, not up.
Correct.
Mr. Scott? That impacts you. Hello?
Yeah,
Do you have anything to add?
no, I don't, right now I don't.
I'm just worried we really gotta get out of this habit of trying to vote on things.
We can put it for next week and I'll just tell him that we can have it signed next week. If it's one, he requested that it go this week, so.
Is there I mean, is that why? Does it have to be? Is there a deadline?
Let me look at the exact language on that. Oh,
Yeah, we don't want it, it's a deadline, we definitely.
I understand. It's just, I don't want to get in the habit of this, but.
I understand. That's why I caveat that I try not to do that.
I guess, do one of you guys want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 tax rate request.
Or
Motion, Commissioner Wiltie, support from Commissioner Serbrook, discussion. Commissioner Scott, anything?
We don't know if there's a deadline here.
I don't see it. I'm looking at it.
I can go back and look at the email, but when I talked to him, he said he needs to get that signed and it was, Breck, do you happen to know why?
Yeah, he says it's gotta be.
Thinking there's probably a reason he.
Yeah, Yeah, there was a second part, but, the second part, he needs 3 other signatures by other people in other districts to bring to us next week, so.
Randy's not typically.
No, he's really good, so.
I agree 100%. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Mark Serbrook.
Yes.
Jenny David.
Yes. USDA rural grant execution signing by the board chair of funding.
So if you see, this is very exciting. We have been working with, Mr. Paulson from the USDA to get him everything that he needs. The treasurer has submitted our direct payment. We submitted all our insurance information. It was broke down, and after lengthy email exchanges, we have the execution ready to be signed. If approved, then reimbursement happens.
Do you want to give to the other board members? I know you and I have talked quite extensively about this as well. Are the other board members aware of what this is? Yes?
This is the USDA grant for the 2 Tahoes. Back in 2023, just for the record, in 2023, March of 2023, a resolution was passed to go for the USDA grant. About 5 months later, it was presented in the same grant form, one for a patrol vehicle and the other for a detective vehicle. It was not approved by the Board of Commissioners, therefore that was put on hold, so the monies were different. The Tahoes were more expensive, and so we're backdating these, that everything, because receipts had to be paid. So the sums that you're gonna see on the grant are a little bit different when they were done in 2023, because these had to be redone for the Tahoes that were purchased.
So these were never resubmitted, just to be clear. You've done a lot of work on this and this is very much appreciated. These were never resubmitted. Am I?
Correct, they have not been resubmitted until
For those
the
vehicles that we have from
Correct.
20, we got those 2 Tahoes in 2024?
2025.
25.
Work 25.
So thankfully, these had never been submitted. Thankfully, we're able to, hopefully, fingers crossed, get our half of, I believe it was half, if I remember, pardon me?
Real close.
Correct, reimbursed for these vehicles that were purchased, that were bought, that we were told we were gonna pay half for. So again, thankfully, this is moving forward. And, we see those monies.
So, and technically, this grant, because from 2023, a resolution was already done, so we just need the signature of this grant, these grant executions to move forward. It is
And-
still the extension of the 2023 resolution.
And this was caught because of you overseeing the budget and checking things, and it looked like these monies were there, but they weren't there, and here we are. So, just so everybody's up to speed.
Yep.
Yep.
So, I'm just requesting a motion that the chair can sign these 5 documents tonight, so they can get scanned in tonight and be sent out to get reimbursed.
I'm trying to tread lightly, obviously, we don't want any finger pointing, but
No,
this was a
no.
pretty big deal. It's corrected moving forward, and I don't want these guys to be out in the public and hear something that they were unaware of. So it's done.
I'll make a motion to authorize the board chair to sign USDA grants.
Support.
I'm not voting again tonight. This is it. We have a motion of supporting further discussion. Big shout out to Francine for this and for these guys for letting us do this. What was his name? You had direct contact. with
Mr.
him.
Paulson, Bryce Paulson,
Yes.
he even offered to drive over and drop them off if need be.
Where's he located?
He's local here on some days.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Thank
no,
you, Fran.
You're welcome.
no other discussion? Roll call vote.
Craig Scott.
Yeah.
Jenny David.
Yes.
Mark Serbrook.
Yes.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Transit budget adjustment. Tony, I'm sorry for the delay.
Tony.
We're off.
Nice to see you. Yes.
Yeah. And
I gotta burn midnight oil with college tonight, so it's gonna be great.
I've also heard that you were at some of the townships talking about the millage, so.
Yes, yeah, and I would like to talk a little bit more about that after the millage, or not the millage, the
Budget adjustment.
budget adjustments. It's been a long day. So Francine and I, we looked over the transit's budget, realized that our mechanics wages were at 99.31%. The reasoning behind this is because if you guys remember, we had Mr. Schaefer still with us from October to December, so fiscal year, or, beginning of this fiscal year, Q1. So that is why we're pretty much at 100% with that budget. So after meeting with Francine, and discussing it today at the transit committee meeting, we would like to reallocate funds, from our driver part-time wages and dispatch part-time wages, to the mechanics wages. On the budget adjustment form, it should show, I remember correctly, it was 14,000 coming from the part-time driver's wages, and then 16,000 from the part-time. There we go, perfect. 16,000 from the part-time dispatcher wages going into that. So 30,000, according to Francine, that's essentially how much we should have reallocated into that line item to ensure that we can make it to the end of this fiscal year and be within budget. The other budget adjustment is for our travel expense. We're looking, or I'm requesting to transfer $300 from our propane line to our travel expense to, again, not be over budget, $90, and to, prepare for any unexpected travel expenses moving forward to the end of the fiscal year. But yeah, that's all I have for the.
Anything, Francine, to add to this?
No, she covered it.
Commissioner Wiltie, I know you're on
Yeah,
the committee.
I just like to make sure we make it known that this by no means is a surprise to the transit committee or to Tony, or even I would imagine to Fran, now that she's been here long enough. We should have been more proactive when we made the decision, which was the right decision, to have that 3-month overlap. We were able to find a very strong mechanic, but it was very important to have that overlap with our mechanic that retired. We knew we were gonna have additional, we knew we were gonna be over budget. We just should have been a little more proactive and talked about it, and we knew we were gonna be able to have the money to do it. But it's not a surprise to us.
Commissioner Scott,
no, it makes sense.
Commissioner Serbrook.
No, we discussed this went over it quite a bit at transit committee this morning, and so.
You have the floor.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I was at township meetings last week, had meetings this week with NEMSCA, a few other individuals. I got meetings scheduled for next week, and for the month of July, I plan on going to as many township meetings as I can, not to advocate for the transit, but to educate the townships and the community about transit and what services we provide. What I plan on bringing is our transit fact sheet, and what this will do is it'll allow the community members to ask any questions about the transit, and for me to hopefully provide as much information as I can about our transit. Other thing is, we got the fly-in this weekend. Our transit bus, the grad bus, is going to be there. So if there's any family members that want to come out, take pictures with the grad bus, it's going to be there for display. So.
Nice. Comments, questions?
Not for me.
Thank you, Tony.
Anything for us?
No, I'm good.
Perfect. Thank you. Nothing, Francine? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Veterans. Who wanted- Oh.
Yeah, but this is in regards to the Veterans Park Memorial Committee. We had a meeting this afternoon at 3:00. I think all of you get a copy of this. Yeah. So basically, obviously, we're in the fundraising process. Next week, I will have a better picture of what the expected construction will look like, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. We have
Pretty amazing.
we have a lot better, layout now than we did before. But one thing that we wanted to ask for the commission, and obviously as us commissioners, it's up to you if you want to do this or not. But as you go to your township, we would like to ask the townships if they would like to do individual support for our Veterans Memorial Park. So we just thought that we would bring up the conversation that if you guys would be willing, and like in July when you go to your townships, if you could take this information and just say, you know, we are in the fundraising part, we'll have a picture that you can show the township members of, you know, what the future park will look like, and just asking them, if they would like to donate.
Nice.
Are you guys okay with that?
Excited to see this, absolutely. Mr. Scott, anything?
No, but
Are we able to put this on the county website? Tom,
Yeah. what you
I
want.
don't know why, huh?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of people that.
Yeah,
are looking at that now.
the QR code actually will go to the treasurer to be paid for, so.
So you guys will be seeing real soon, we have a woman on the committee that's quarterbacking, for social media. It's gonna have that new picture of the design. That's gonna show what the park looks like. That will have this information with, you know, with the code and everything. But Fran, if we could, once we have that, that'd be great to get to Tom and then put that information on the website.
Absolutely.
Picture.
I think it's a great idea.
Did we miss anything on that agenda?
Can I just, I have a few.
No, I'm just kidding.
Those are good things.
I have to vote.
These are
Stay
good
longer.
things. These are good things. Just a reminder, we have a capital improvement meeting June 26th.
Okay.
I requested that we put your top items to me by June 22nd, so I can put some fun things for us to do and listen to different departments about capital improvement.
That's June 26th.
Yes, and please get me your feedback of what your top items are, June 22nd, that I put in that email. And I just want to give some thanks where thanks is due. We've had a lot of changes. So first I want to talk about, I had a department head approach me and someone else approached me, how Chris Casey has been excellent to work with during the law library project. He's been great during that period of time. It needed to be painted. He painted it. It got installed today. It was great every step of the way. With all the changes with housing going on, I'd like to thank Tom for being on it, Chris, Tony, and Colleen for really pitching in a lot of different ways. But I'd also like to give a big shout out to Ryan Veeder. He has helped above and beyond when was needed. He flexed his schedule to move some things and has just been really great. I want to thank Breck for moving things as we have Tracy coming in, trying to coordinate to make it happen. So we're getting a facelift down in administration and IT. It's gonna look great. Chris cleaned and waxed the floors today and it looks really good. So I just appreciate all the help that's been this week.
Nice, it's nice to hear the positives.
So as you told me no, I told you it was gonna be good.
If I can piggyback on that for just one moment. Chris also took and went to transit and replaced ceiling tiles in the building out there. So again, kudos to Chris for jumping on that project too,
Mhm.
so.
You also helped with, you and Chris helped with the fire. No, Chris was not here.
Him and I, yeah, it was.
Helped you with the fire.
That was a team effort by an awful lot of people here, so.
I liked it, so. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
And the county building for everybody is closed tomorrow, just so you are all aware. So, Commissioner comments, Commissioner Wiltie,
Comments, not reports. I'm all set.
Commissioner Scott.
well, it's been an eye-opening thing about lately here with about the housing department or whatever the name is. I was unaware of how that all operated. I think like a lot of people were, and I guess I never looked into it. But we continually make policies here, and I think we need to. We gotta just tighten up. We've been doing very good things in the last few years.
Mhm.
We gotta stay right on top of it. We say it a lot of times, but we really need to. I'm looking at these budget adjustments. I know I've made a lot of comments about that today. But I don't like the idea of having some funds sitting out there. Just in case. You know, the Chicken Little syndrome has been here since I've been here. And I just always hate that when I hear it, just in case. There's the lines in budgets, contingencies and things like that, or just in case you don't inflate certain other line items, just in case. Oh. So, that's all I got. Small little box.
Commissioner Serbrook.
I would just like to remind everybody that the fly-in is at West Branch Community Airport on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. They'll be doing their pancake breakfast. Commissioner Wilson, I believe, is going to be one of the chefs providing
Right.
the breakfast. There's gonna be a military C-47 there. Hopefully the weather cooperates. So they're gonna do a candy drop for kids.
Helicopter candy.
Yep. They do that every year, so.
Great event.
There's gonna be some classic cars out there as well, some military vehicles. Should be a good time, so.
Depending on the weather
I-
in another state, there may be.
There may be some jets.
Yes.
If the weather does not cooperate in the state of Georgia, in the Atlanta area, and it cooperates here, we may have some jet aircraft.
Then on top of that, the next week, there is gonna be some jet air.
There will be definitely RC jets the following weekend,
Control jets are gonna be
But they're-
there the following weekend.
and they're not small. They're the size of these tables together, so they're not small or radio controlled jets. They are big ones. That's all I have.
I got a couple things. It started with Fabian, a lot of communication with being the board chair. Fabian just communicated much more with me than that had happened in the past. And Francine has continued that, and just how refreshing that is. Pretty much a daily phone call, just basically a brief synopsis of her day. Just to keep update on things and running things by one another. I can't tell you how refreshing that has been. Cause I Fridays I visit in here occasionally, but I don't come in on a routine basis. So just keeping that communication open, and also your department head meeting that you said was attended very, very well, beyond expectations. So I just want to shout out to all the county workers that there's been changes happening, and just how open they have been to that, and how well things seem to be going. Is greatly appreciated. Also, I see on social media, our prosecutor had a big birthday this past week, so I did see that, and looked like a little bit of a celebration, but I do try to be mindful of everybody's time here. I do work full-time along with another commissioner, and where I know we're all busy, so I do try to be mindful. It's not that I'm trying to hurry us along. I just like to try to be professional, try to keep moving in the right direction. I feel like after 2 hours, people kind of lose interest. I appreciate the audience being here. I see people turn around and look at the clock. So it's not, I don't want you guys to ever think that I'm trying to rush us along, but I do try to be mindful of everybody's time. These other department heads that are here have already worked a full day. So that is my rationale behind it. Please tell me if you ever feel rushed. That is definitely not my intention. I try to give everybody opportunity to speak, but I try to keep us heading forward. So public comment. Any public comment in the room? After all of that.
Come on, Steve.
I need some help. Steve.
Uh-oh.
For Mills Township. Her department, is that the home improvement program?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there public comment?
Yep, 1 second, sir.
Quick, I lost my train of thought. Leanne, the housing improvement. I've got a property I'm dealing with right now. In fact, you know which property it is. They have a septic issue that I was told was gonna be rectified by the end of May, and it wasn't. I was there yesterday. It's a single mom, couple of kids struggling. I've called MDHHS, I've called CPS, I called the Michigan 211 number. I got some information from them, but I'm gonna reach out to Leanne. I was called today by a neighbor out there, a concerned neighbor. They've got a generator running there, the power's been shut off. Is that something Leanne can help me with?
I would definitely give her a call, reach out to her.
Possible.
It's the home improvement program. That's what I needed to know. Okay,
Worth the call.
okay, all right. That was really all I really needed. Nice piece of business on the ground, by the way. Nice job. So, And you do run a great meeting. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks.
Any other public comment in the room first?
Yes.
Oh, hold on, sir.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yep, 1 second.
Ken Schnauz, Township Supervisor. When people are incarcerated in our jail, they are presumed innocent, correct? Until they go through the legal
Unless
system.
they've been convicted.
Okay. Given what you said about, rancheros, but I've heard this story last year also, that rancheros was our only bidder and they're pretty expensive. And given what you said, I emphasize a lot with you. Now, we have a vast supply of men and women that serve our country that live on MREs. There would be a source of, and they're approved to, keep our soldiers, men and women both going, And we could, I think the county, and I'm not saying this flippantly, I think the county could, find a source of surplus MREs. And it could cut our, costs down quite a bit. And maybe OCJ wouldn't be the most desirable place for criminals to end up in our area.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your public comment.
Thank you.
Yes, come on up.
You want to get the gentleman on the phone first?
Nope, come on up. This is standard. We're trying to stay with.
Nicole Cooper, Ogemaw County Treasurer, and I just wanted to notify you all that earlier today I passed the exam to become a certified public investment funds manager.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, sir, on the phone, you have the floor.
Yes,
You have 3
I
minutes.
have a discussion issue with number 0 regarding your discussion of bailiff coordinators, incident reports, and lunch hours.
Okay, go ahead. You have the floor for 3 minutes.
Okay. First off, I would like to know what state law, statute, whatever states that bailiffs are required to take lunch hours. Is that something the administrator can give me?
Absolutely.
Do you know who this is?
Did you state your name?
Ron Peckno.
Perfect. Okay,
So you know who I am.
go ahead.
I have nothing that I have looked at online or anywhere that states that we have to take lunch hours being part-time employees. Under the understanding I have is if you work 30 hours or more a week, you are a full-time employee, which is what I've been told by Tracy. We work 27. We are not entitled to a lunch hour. So I fail to understand or see where the lunch hour thing comes into. That's
Okay.
one issue.
Go ahead.
The second issue is with the firearm that was brought in. I think that information was misrepresentative to you guys. I've listened to this meeting. I've heard what went on, but I know what went on with my officers. An attorney in his legal bag that he brought in there was a firearm in it. When it went through the metal detector, the officer at the door or the metal detector informed him that there was a firearm in that, and he in turn realized, oh yes, I had that in there from a prior experience, and took it exactly straight out the door. And it was not brought back in when his briefcase went through the metal detector again.
Okay. Any other comments?
Any other questions you have regarding these results, come see me or come see Rick. Also, the incident report with this, I happened to be upstairs when Rick was writing that report online. I believe that was Tuesday afternoon, and he sent it. I watched him send it upstairs in the district court office on their laptop. And obviously you did not get it.
Okay, sir, your 3 minutes is up. I'm gonna ask you to meet with
Okay.
the county administrator.
That's fine. I will
Thank-
be there Monday afternoon at 12:30.
Perfect, thank you.
Have a good day.
Two. Any other public comment on the phone? Motion to adjourn?
We don't have to vote on it, do we?
Motion to adjourn. Good, God, good.
Because I don't wanna vote on anything else.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Agreed. We are adjourned. I gotta.
Hey, Ken,
Call, hang on.
and just for the rest of you, the military pays more than $10 for MREs.